Hi, in this video I'm gonna show you how to do a basic manual digitizing using the perfect Embroidery Pro. So what we are using today is the Embroidery software by Dime, uh, and we will use this one. And show you how to do that, I will use this flower, and we will digitize this flower for today work. So before I start, let me just uh, quickly go over the GUI and how everything is setting. Here on the left panel, what we have is just selecting and editing and those kind of things, and show and hide, for example, 3D or a stitch, and it will show you how these things works. Um, here on the top, we have the digitizing option that we digitize to. This is the properties, so whatever we are doing here, we can set the properties of the object in this panel. Down here we have several tabs. Here is the sequence of the object we have that on sequence are going to be sewed. There are a couple of design here, and these things here. Usually we use the first one, and the color palette just down here, that can use it for that. To work with that, so one of the first thing we will want to do is to go ahead and set up the hoop. So you can find the hoop is down here, or you can, I think, come here and click on the hoop here, and it will ask you what type of hoop you want. I'm gonna choose just 100 by 100, or it's a 4" by 4" for now. If you click OK, so it's gonna show you the hoop, and then we can import the image we want to digitize. So come here, you have these two options. So the first one, you can bring in if you have any vector file. So for example, if you have the vector file, you can bring it in. But the next one, you can bring an image. So you can click on that and click on the image and bring the image. After you bring the image, so you see the properties box open, so you can come here and fit it into your hoop, or you can just simply come here and change the size and make sure that it fits the hoop. If you want to be more precise, so you can put it down here. So when you get it done, I want to center, so I want to make sure it's going to be 0, 0, and apply. So it's going to be sit on the center of my hoop, to work with that. One of the things you want to set up at the very beginning is your thread color. If you want, you can go to general options, and I think here by default is this exquisite thread. You can go ahead and choose any other thread color you want and set it up if you want to. So that's how you can do that. The software can do the auto digitizing. I'll just very quickly show you how to do that. This is not the way we will do it, but I'll just show you how to do it. So if you select the image and then click here, it's auto digitizing. I think you can also have it here. So you can click on the auto digitizing, and these are the if you do the artwork, I think it converted to the vector part, so you can do whatever you want with those parts later. But here you click on that, next, do any resizing you want, and then decide how many colors you want to be there, and just finish, and it will do the job for you. Most of the time probably that's all you need. So if I go ahead and turn off the artwork, and this is gonna turn off the 3D, so you can see, so that's done. So that's your digitized work. So you can go ahead and click any of those part and change it in the way you want. But as I said today, I'm gonna turn it on. We are gonna do it in manually. Before I start, so one of the first things, let me go ahead and lock this image there. So make sure when I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I'm not gonna accidentally move it. Before I start to talk about how to digitize that, let me go ahead and show you a couple of stitches we have in the embroidery just in general. One thing is that when you zoom in and zoom out, scrolling is always zoom in and zoom out at the center. But if you want to zoom where your cursor is, just hold on the control key and then it zoom in and zoom out at your cursor point, where your cursor point is. Anyway, so a couple of stitch that we have. The very first type of stitch that we are using is the running stitch. So this one is the running stitch. You can click on that and then you can click, and when you're done press enter, and just basically the simple running stitch that you have it there. Let's turn off the 3D so you can see the stitch point there. So it turned. So the running stitch is that, and you can come here and the different type of running stitch, you can select it from here. So you select it and then change it and apply it if you want any other type of stitch. If you want, so you can, in this one, the stitch point, if I cannot turn off, so you see the stitch point is placed automatically. If you want to place the stitch points manually, you can use this one and put the stitch point manually at wherever you want. Or you can, after you have it, you can go ahead and click here on the edit and try to edit it in a way that you want. So for example, you want to move it or do whatever you want, you can do it this way. You know, one thing that I want to mention is that when you're drawing, if you click it, just click it, it's gonna draw the straight line. But if you hold on the control key and click, then it's gonna do the curve point. So hold on the control key, curve point, just click, simple click, straight point. And after you've done it, you can click here, select any of the point, and you can edit it, change it to smooth to line, or any changes you want to do. Yeah. And you can basically add the point. If you want to delete the point, just select it, delete the point, or press delete. Or if you want to add the point, just right click, add the point, or all those things. You can do that after that. And when you're done editing, just go back to select. The other type that we have and we're using it a lot is the fill, and this is this one here. So if you're clicking on that one and you go ahead and choose any point you want, again straight, or hold on the control to get the curve, and when you're done, just press enter. It's going to automatically close it, and this is going to be the fill. And again, you can come here and select what type of fill you want and change it. One thing about the fill is that if you click on the edit, this is the angle of the stitch, so you can set the angle of the stitch. This green line is where the stitching starts, and this green dot, and then the red dot is where the stitching is end. So if you want to change the start and the end of the stitching, you can change or move these two as well. So that's the regular fill. The next one is the satin fill, and there are a couple of ways that you can do the satin fill. One of them is this one. So using this one is basically you draw one edge and then you draw the opposite edge and you have the satin fill. So if I have draw a L, so for example I draw one edge, and then press enter, or right click, and then still you see it's hanging there. Then there, I draw the opposite edge, and then press enter, and it will create a satin stitch for me. So you can go ahead and edit it. So these are you see these yellow line are the angle. So if you want to change the angle anywhere, you can go ahead and, for example, if I want the angle to be starting like that for any reason, I can do that, and it's gonna change the angle like that. So it's one way of doing that. The other way is this more traditional setting, that which is you are going and defining a point and the opposite point on the other edge, and keep going. So one point and the opposite point on the opposite edge. So again, one point, opposite, one point, opposite, one point, opposite, one point, opposite, and then you have it. This one, throughout the drawing, you define all those angles, and then again you can change it if you want it. It's gonna change. Another way you can do it is just first create the complex field. Simply just go ahead and assume cell I want to create, and press enter, and then come here and change it to setting and apply. Sorry, so select it, come to the setting and apply. So change it to the setting and save like that. You can go ahead and edit it. So again, you can change the entire angle for the entire shape in the way that you want, for example, like that, and it's gonna make it. So if I turn on the 3D, so you can see how they look like. So this is the satin stick, so you can work on that. The other part that we work with that is the border. I want to add border to any shape. So one of the one that we can use it is this one. So it's more like the satin border or satin line. So if I again work on that, so it's gonna give me something like that. So if I turn off here and zoom in, you see it's kind of the satin border format that we have here. If I have, for example, any shape, I can, for example, come here, draw a rectangle, and then select that, and then I convert it, because I convert it to what I assume is complex fill, and then I can come here and add the border to, for example, to that selected, and it was the utility, and create a border. So you can create a border, and then you can select that border, and if you want to change it, for example, by default it's gonna be the satin border, but you can come here and click on that and convert it to, for example, the running stitch border if you want to do that. So these are generally the stitch types that we are using in very general format for that, and we will use them to do the digitize. So let me select all, Control A and delete, and because I locked my image is not gonna be selected, and let me fit it. So when we want to start to digitize manually, one of the first things we probably need to do is just think in advance in what sequence we want to do the object. So here I first do this stem part here, then these two leaves, then the purple part, and then at the last I will do the yellow part. So Here for the stem, I'm gonna use the satin. It's a narrow and long, so probably satin is the best. I'm gonna use the classic one, so I click on the satin. I hold down the control key, zoom in, scroll to zoom in, and I will start from here, here. So one edge, opposite edge, one edge, opposite edge, one edge, opposite edge, one edge, opposite edge, and these are the angles gonna be actually suit. So every two that I define is gonna be the angle. And I will go a little bit overlap on the purple, one edge and the opposite edge, and press enter. And the reason I will go overlap is that when you're stitching and put all those needle points, uh, let me turn off the needle point so you can see better. So when you do all the stitches, sometimes it pull the fabric apart and then it's gonna leave the gap in the places that you have the shared edge. So we usually leave a little bit overlap, so in case that's going to be pulled apart, you're not going to end up having the gap. Eventually this overlap is going to be covered with the top layer, whatever you put on top of that, so it's not going to be shown, but it's prevented from leaving gap there. So let me turn on the 3D so you can see it. Okay, it's look like this, and it's blue, so we don't want it to be blue, so we select that. For the color selection is that if you want it to change the color of what you'd already draw, you select it and come here, and you have to do the right click, not the click, just do the right click and it change the color for that part. If you want to change that color altogether in the palette, right click on the color, click on the color, and this will come out and you can select any color and will change that color in the palette. But if you want to change the color of whatever you have, just select it, and after you select it, just come here and right click, not click, just right click, and it will change the color. So next I'm gonna do this part here, and let me show you. It's just measure it. I think it's very wide, so it's, yes, 70 millimeters, so it's too wide to do the satin, so I'm gonna do the complex fill. So let me turn off the 3D so I can see what I'm doing. So I click on complex fill, I'm gonna zoom in here, and again I want to leave a little bit of overlap, so I can come here and turn on the stitch, so I see the stitch points. So these are the stitch points, so I'm gonna leave a little bit overlap between these two, so if the fabric pulls apart, so I'm not gonna end up having gap here. So I do that here, and then I will come here, and then I want it to be curved, so I will do I hold on the control key and then click. I will do it very quickly so you can do it with more detail. Don't worry about that, we will fix it. So curve, curve, let me zoom in here, and then I want it to be straight, so and we leave a little bit overlap, straight, and press enter, so it will make that for me. So I will go ahead and zoom in here, hold on the control key to zoom wherever is the mouse, then click on the edit, select that, change it to cusp, so it lets you to change it, and then change it the way that you want it. So okay, and then okay, and for the color here, just right click, make sure it's gonna be green. Then I will do this one, so again I will zoom in here, I will click on the complex again, start with a little bit of overlap and click, and then I want the rest to be curved, so hold on the control key, click, 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 click. So click here, click here, click here, click here, click here. I'm gonna zoom in and I want it straight, so I leave the control key and just simply click and press enter, and then I have that as well again. So I keep forgetting change the color, so I have to come here and right click, change it to green. I can select the color before I start drawing. So let's make it to fit. Okay, so we have to go ahead and fix that part. So hold on the control key and zoom to go where the mouse is and press on the edit button. And then select that, change it to the cusp, so it lets you to change the handle, and then change the handle in the way that you want it. Okay, and then now let's go to the fit and let's go to 3D, see what we have so far. So this is what we have so far. We're gonna work on those parts. One thing is that because I previously changed it on satin, it goes on satin, so I don't want it to be satin, so I want it to be tatami, so apply. Also here I want it to be tatami, apply. Sorry, tatami, apply. So it's gonna be tatami and tatami. So it's as I said, it's very wide to be satin. So that's good. The next part I'm gonna do is that I will do these purple parts. So I will hold on the control key and zoom here. Again, I will do with the fill, and here I will start from just a click, and then I want it to be curved, so I hold on the control key and click. I will do the first one a little bit more. So here we will want to have this overlap, you see, so to make sure it's not gonna leave any gap. Click, and the last one I wanted to be straight, so I release the hold key and just click and then press enter. So I have that. I select it and I want to change the color. For example, I assume to this one, so I right click on that. So the next thing I can do is that I can either select this one, so I can select it and go here and repeat it to cover that, or I can copy and paste it 5 times and rotate it to hold it on each of them. Those are visually easier, but I'm gonna just very quickly draw them manually, but not in very detail. So again, I click here. So I click, and then press enter. This one, hold on the control key to make it press enter. Then here I will go ahead and hold on control key to get it done like that, press enter. Then the last one will do that and press enter. So, and let me see, so for the again the color, I will hold on the control key and select them, and then right click to change the color. So now they all have this color, purplish color. And if I wanted to change that color to any color, I can just click on that and change any color I wanted from here to that color. I'm just gonna leave it, but I can do that. Again, these are satin because the last thing we did it, so I'm gonna just Come here, select them all, change them to tatami and apply. So okay, so they're all tatami. And the last one is this yellow circle here. Well, just one thing before I forget, so I do the clicking and for the straight hand curve. Before I forget, you can go in the general option, and I think on the digitizing, if you don't like to hold on the key, or you come from the previous, you have an experience with the vector design, you can change it to Bezier, and then all the drawing is gonna follow the Bezier mode. But here in the simple mode, the simple click, right, draw the straight line, hold on the control key and click, right, the curve line. Anyway, just I wanted to mention that before I forget. Then this circle here, so for that circle I can do come here, click on the ellipse and draw a circle, and then select it. I mean, not there, like I can draw it here. So one thing I can do is just come here, draw ellipse and draw one here, try to match it, and then select it and convert it to complex fill, and then move it to put it on top of that. So that's one way that we can do it and change the color. Or we can simply just draw it the way we did it right up to here. So I click on the complex view, zoom, control key, zoom a little bit, hold on the control key, and then started clicking. So curve, 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 and press enter. So we have that selected, and change it here. To change its color, just right click, not click. So right click, and it keeps doing this. So change it to tatami, apply it. So it's going to be tatami. That we have. So now we have everything here. The next thing we can go ahead and do it. We can do it when we drawing, but we can go ahead and change some properties. For example, here I can select that one, click on the edit. So just zoom in, hold on, control. Assume I don't want it, I want the angle to be like this, for example. So I will do this angle. Then I will select this one. For example, I will do this angle here as well, if I want. And then select. So couple of things that we can do. Whenever you select any of these objects, you see you have these the object properties open here. So here you can choose, for example, what you want here. In this case is the underlay, how you're going to remember that every time we are sewing we have to have the foundation before the top stitches. This is the foundation, so you can go and if I turn let me turn off this, so you might see those underlay underneath. So basic those underlay behave as a foundation. You can work on that. The next one is the pull compensation. I will talk about that later. Here is about the joint, that you want it to be this pointy joint or not. Here if you want to have the gradient, here is the command. It's a tie in and tie off command, and basically I'm not going to go in detail, but it's like that. And for any object that there is a trim, anytime that there is a trim, you need the tie in or tie off. So basically, if you have an object and there's a trim before that or after that, you need the tie in or tie off to make sure that it's gonna stay where it is. At the beginning, I will suggest that turn on the tie in tie off for all the object until you know exactly where you need it. But anytime that you have a trim, you need a tie in if it or tie off. So basically tie the both end of each object, so make sure that it's not, the stitch is not gonna get open. You can just, but you can just have it for all the objects. And it's a transformation. Let me just a little bit talk about this. Where is that? The pool compensation. As said, let me zoom in here, and is as I'll show you here. I see I leave some overlap between these two objects. So to make sure that if there is a, when we are sewing, if the fabric is get pulled, there's not going to be gap there. So one way of doing that is that, so manually you have leave some overlap, but sometimes it's easier to let the software doing it, and to do that is gonna be like that. Why was doing that? So here, assume I'm gonna just draw a rectangle, a simple rectangle here, and then I select it. I will convert it to complex fill, and just a tummy, apply, and I will want to make it the angle is close to 0. But this is the angle. So let me zoom in here. So, and also let me create a border so you can see where is the border for these two. So create a border, and let me convert that border to just simple running stitch so you can see. So okay, and let me change it to any other color, maybe I don't know what color might be easy to see, but let's choose this one. Anyway, so hold on the control key and I'm zooming, and you see I can here turn off or turn on the stitch points. See those black dots here, those are the stitch points. So if I turn on the stitch point, I zoom all the way in. Let me go down and turn off. You see those are the stitch points, and if I turn it on, it's gonna be right on the edge of the object. Now if I select this object and come to the pool compensation, and here for the percentage it does it with the percentage, for now I do it with the absolute, and said okay, I want 0.4 millimeter compensation. It means that extend that line 0.4 beyond the edge of the object. So if I apply it, see what happens. So you see it goes there. So here this green line is where it was before, so it's the edge of the object where it was before, and this is after I add 0.4. So if I measure it, so this distance between here and this yellow line, I don't know if you see it or not. Let me change that to probably another color. Maybe it's easier to see it. So here, yeah, so here this one is where it was before pool compensation, and this is after pool compensation, which is 0.4. So if I measure that distance, you can see it's 0.4 millimeter. So it's extended 0.4 millimeter. So basically, if you have another object next to that, it's gonna leave that 0.4 millimeter overlap there. So let me go off. But what I did is that I actually, so I did it manually. So that and it. So here, when what I did is that I did this overlap manually. You can don't leave any overlap and then come here in the pool compensation and add it automatically. Another thing I want to show you is this density, and density basically tells you how many stitches you are gonna have. The simple word is the distance between the rows of the stitches. So if you need to have denser, you have to, it's counterintuitive. So if you want to have the denser, you have to decrease that. If you want to have less dense, so you have to increase this. So it's a distance between these stitching rows. So it's working like that. Just know that usually you don't need to change it, but know what it does. Um, uh, the Before I'm doing that, I'm gonna the next thing I want to talk about the jump stitch, but before doing that I'm gonna just add some border here so you can see what we can do. So I'm gonna add some black border here and one around that green line. So I will go ahead and click on running a stitch. uh, I will zoom in here and add the try to again, I will not do it very so. So you can do it with uh, more detail. I just want to show you how to do that. And also you can turn on the image if you want, so if it gives you better idea of where you're clicking, you can go ahead and turn on the image as well. So and press enter, and then I will go ahead and select that, change the color to blackish, kind of black, I think it's black, and then I will turn it to being apply, so it's make it a little bit thicker. Also want to go ahead, click on that, make it cause, hold on, control key, zoom in and just make it, so make sure that it's follow the edge. I can also go ahead and turn that back on so you can see it. I have to fix that as well, so I zoom in, select that, edit, click on that, cusp, I will put it there. That should be okay. Okay, and so I have this outline there. As if I turn the 3D so you can see it, you can go ahead and manually do that, adjust it. Also I want to add, so let me turn off the stitch point. I want to add another one also to this yellow one. So I click on that, and to do that there are two ways of doing that. One way is just go ahead, um, one way is that just draw it. The other way is that I will go ahead and copy and paste it there. So one difference here is usually that you usually in other software you duplicate. So if you duplicate in other software, it usually creates one right on top of that. But here it will ask you when you want to have the duplicate. So if I click on that and duplicate, and it says okay, where do you want to put it? So anywhere you click, it's gonna create a duplicate. Um, but here if I click on that, copy and just paste it, it's gonna create one on top of that. And now I can select it and convert it to sorry, utilize, and yeah, I can go ahead and convert it, for example, to uh, these types of borders. So I have the border. So that's one way of doing that. It's another way of doing that. So now I have the border here. Uh, Another way also I could have done is that, let me delete it. Again, I could have just select it and utility and create a border. And it's also gonna create a border for me. So these are different ways that you can do it. So either do it manually, make a copy and convert it to border, or just right click and say click border. So now that I have it, I'm gonna change the color to this. So right click, change the color, and okay, and then I fit. So now I have everything. So the very last thing I need to do is that I have these jump stitches. I want to get rid of those jump stitches because after that I have to go ahead and cut them. So if I come here and click on this redraw, I can see, for example, how it's gonna work. So it's gonna create that, and then it will, as you see, it will jump from here to here, and then it starts to do this, and then it will goes there. So I don't want to have these jumps. So what I will do is that I will go up and I will select this second one. So it starts here, that's okay, but I can just zoom in and say I want it to finish right here. So instead of having this jump going from here to here, I want to have it finish here. So, and this one, I click on that one, it starts here. Instead of starting here, I would say, okay, just start here. So the first one finish here, the second one starts here. So now if I go ahead and redraw it, you see there's no jump anymore. So it's gonna do that. So we got rid of that jump. Now we have this one and this one. So I don't want to have any jump between them. So this one, it ends here. So I want it to end here. And this one starts here. So I want it to start here. So still is gonna be a jump between them. So let me turn off the 3D zoom in. Let me go ahead and turn off that image underneath as well. So when it goes there, so it finishes here, and then it starts here. So it's gonna be jump from here to here. To get rid of that jump from here to here, I'm gonna draw a running stitch right beneath that border, that black border. So I will click here and say I want a stitch going from here to here, and it's going to be hidden beneath that stitch, and press enter. So where is it? So it's this one, and I wanted to have the same color as them. So I will right click on there, and then I wanted to go up there, so I will move it between these two. So one more up. Yeah. Now it is between these two. So then so it's gonna right now it's gonna do that, and then it's gonna do the running stitch from here to here, and then it starts to stitching from there. So everything is gonna be okay. For now, before I forget, so let me I just select all, and where is the I will apply basic tiny and tile on. I can't do it for all of them. So let me do that. For example, for the green one, I start from this satin one, so I need to have do it for this one so I can do it for the rest. What was that? Okay, at the start I want the tie in, and then I will go and then I will directly connect to that, and then connect it to the drum, and then connect it to that, and this here I'm gonna finish, so I want to have a tie off also. For this one I start from this one, and so I want to have the tie in, then I go to this one, this one, this one, this one, and here again I'm gonna have the trim at the end of the color, because these are all gonna be connected, so I'm gonna have the tie off also here. This one, the green one, is because it's by itself. I'm gonna have at the beginning and at the end. The same for this black and this running stitch. I'm gonna have the sorry, this one and this one. I'm gonna have, because these are separate objects, so I'm gonna have the tie in and tie off for both of them. Okay, next for the jump stitch, so I want to do that before I forget. This jump stitch, this one again, if you can see it here, it goes and jump from here to here, so I don't want that, so I click on that. Let me go ahead and turn off this. I want the jump be hidden underneath of that, so I will go ahead and let me turn off that, and then let's go and turn off this one as well. So I want the jump goes there, so when I have that yellow part, it's gonna cover it. So select this one and say, okay, I wanted this one to finish there, and then this one I wanted to start there, and again I wanted to finish there, I wanted to start there, then I wanted to finish there, I wanted to start here, I wanted to finish here, I want this to start here, and it doesn't matter when it finish. So now you see these jumps are going to be underneath. So if I go ahead and turn on that yellow part, so see it's gonna cover the jump, so the jumps is not gonna be seen. Still, sometimes we don't want to have a jump at all. So if you want to get rid of jump at all, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna just add the running stitch from here to here. So if I click this one, let me, so yeah, I am gonna add the running stitch from here to here. So I click on the running stitch. I want it to go from here to here. Press enter and change the color to select it, change the color to this color, and then I wanted to move it up between these two, so I move it up here. So it's here, then it's here, then it's there, and by doing that, then there is not a jump. It's basically sew that, then it sew this line, then it sew that one. And we can do that. We can add a running stitch here, running stitch here, running stitch here, to make sure that we don't have any jump. So everything will be sewing this one, running stitch, sewing this one, running stitch, and going on like that. If you are okay, so maybe you can see it. Let me turn off so you can see the difference. So you see this is the running stitch. You see the stitch point, but this is the jump. There's no stitch point, so it's the one stitch here, was a stitch point here, and then suddenly jump there. Again, if you want to get rid of that jump, we can add the running stitch there, running stitch there, running stitch there as well. So you get the idea. So let me go back and turn on everything except for the image. So I go ahead and fit it and turn off the stitch point, make it 3D. So basically at this point we have it ready. If you are happy with everything, you can go ahead and just save it to the format that our machine works at, and export it and send it to the machine and start to swing it. So this is the basics of how we can digitize manually uh, using this software from the Dime. It has many options. It has many more options that we're not going to touch it. We just touch the very basics of how to manually digitizing. You can go ahead and start to just play with other options it has, and then you can, as I said, you can play with that and do much more with it. I hope it helps. So that's it for today.